enters paradise. Because enumeration here, it's very difficult to translate. Didn't find anyone who gave a really adequate translation. Man ahsaha, whoever knows them, or whoever understands them, whoever comprehends them, whoever is realized in their meaning, enters paradise. Right? Now, how does one know these most beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By recognizing who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, by recognizing the nature of our relationship, of our intrinsic need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then living accordingly, right? And then living accordingly. This is what the most beautiful names give us a meaning, a means of doing. Now, of course, that's all really nice, right? But how do we go about doing that? How do we go about doing that? Now, I'm getting tired, so I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to ask you to help me out. So, how would we go about understanding these most beautiful names? I've given you sort of an outline, right? And done the hard work for you, right? You may have understood it before or not, but we explained what Asmaa Ul Husnaa are, what the most beautiful names are, and what it means to call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thereby. Right? These are meanings that these are names that signify the perfections, excellence, good, and beauty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala possesses. Why do we call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because our calling expresses need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our need for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is intrinsic. Okay? Now, if Allah possesses these 99 names, how do we find out what these 99 names are? What do we do? It's very simple, nothing very philosophical. How do we find out about what these 99 names are? Anyone? Sorry? Look them up, yeah? So learning, right? We should learn about them. We should find out what the 99 names are, and secondly, what they mean, right? We should find out what the 99 names are and what they mean. Now, they're mentioned in a number of hadiths all together. Okay, they're mentioned in a number of hadiths all together. But the ulama have also brought out the meanings of these names, right? And there's a number of useful works. There's two works that one can recommend in English. One is by Ustaz Tosin Beira. It's called The Most Beautiful Names, right? And another, one of the classics on this subject is by Hujjatul Islam, Imam Al-Ghazali, right? And his work is also translated. Now, if you're of those who are easily intimidated or distracted, skip the section on the name, the naming, and the name. And the name, the naming, and the name. Right? Because it's deep, right? And as Imam Ghazali says at the end of it, it's really nice, but there's not much to it, right? But find out what's the significance of each of these names, right? And how does one comprehend these names? There's two ways. The ulama mentioned, right, from what the Prophet ﷺ said about the divine names. There's two ways that we can relate to these names. There's two ways that we can relate to these names. One is by being attached to them, by attaching ourselves, right? So to realize what they signify with respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So, for example, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the All-Merciful, right? Realize the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He is merciful, right? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the patient, right? Is the patient. Recognize how patient He is with us, right? Despite all that we do in life, right? And be attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of that. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the all-powerful, recognize the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and act accordingly, right? And so on. This is ta'alluq. This is attaching yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so to speak, given the significance of each of these names. The other is takhalluq, okay? Is characterizing yourself with the meaning of these names, right? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, how are we supposed to be? We are supposed to be merciful. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the merciful are those shown mercy by the All-Merciful. Be merciful to those on earth, and the Lord of the heavens will have mercy upon you. Ar-Rahimuna يرحمهم الرحمن تبارك وتعالى يرحم من في الأرض يرحمكم من في السماء. It is the merciful who are shown mercy by the All-Merciful. Be merciful to those on earth, and the Lord of the heavens will be merciful to you. Right? This is takhalluk. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous, right? He's kareem. What are we supposed to be? We should strive, in our view, if Allah is merciful to His creation, because these attributes tell us about meanings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that relate to His creation, right? If Allah is the generous with His creation, how are we supposed to be? Right? We are supposed to be generous to His creation. If Allah is patient with His creation, then we are to be patient with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation likewise. And that works with everything except one name. What name can we not be? What?
Proud.
Sorry?
Proud.
Proud? In a relative sense, we could. Right? There's things that we can be proud of, right? And we can express them in the right way by being thankful for them, right? But there's one name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you cannot characterize yourself by. What is it? Sorry? Ar-Rahman? The meaning of Rahmah, of overwhelming mercy, we can strive to have something of as well. But there's one name that you cannot, and if you try to, you're no longer a Muslim. What is it? Yeah? Actually, it is Allah. Right? Don't try. Right? Don't try. Like, don't try to be Allah. Right? Try to be merciful, be kind, be caring, be gentle, but don't. Right? For Allah's sake, try to be Allah. If you do, right? That's the exit sign will start flashing. Right? You will have exited Islam. It's not funny. That is common sense. Right? No one tries. Right? If they're in their senses. Right? That's the only name that you cannot characterize yourself by. Rather, what can you characterize yourself by when it comes to the name Allah? Is by its absolute opposite, right? By the absolute opposite of its meaning. If Allah possesses all perfection, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala possesses every meaning of perfection and excellence, we have to realize that we are the ones in absolute poverty, that we don't possess anything at all, right? Allah is the one, Lahu Asmaa Ul Husnaa. His are the names of excellence. His are the names of beauty, of perfection. As for us, we have nothing of ourselves. All that we possess is from where? Is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we characterize ourselves with the meaning of the name Allah, by realizing who we are, right? Because Allah, the name Allah points to the meaning of the divine, right? Allah Himself, right? So what is the meaning of us, ourselves? It is absolute slavehood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? This is how we characterize ourselves, right? By the implications of the name Allah, by being slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A slave is the one who possesses absolutely nothing. Everything that the slave has is from his master. And to realize that, and this is what, and what is the response to that? The response to that is thankfulness. Because when you realize that Allah possesses everything and you have absolutely nothing, and then you then see that you are drowning, you are absolutely drowned in blessings, then the only response that you can possibly have is what we can call the prophetic impulse. What was the prophetic impulse in his worship and his life and his conduct, his dealings, his actions? What moved the Prophet ﷺ to act? It was thankfulness. Right? Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she was brilliant. She noticed things of the Prophet ﷺ that no one else did. Right? No one. Even his closest companion, his senior most companions didn't notice many of the things that Sayyidah Aisha noticed. Right? Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she asked the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, why do you stand so long at night in prayer that your feet swell? Right? This was in his later years, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What did the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam respond?